Hey there. So if you've gone through this video on creating a DateTime property in HubSpot, this enables you to store a specific date and time, not just the date. If you go through the normal property configuration options, it just lets you set a date, which for a lot of things like when did a lead hit a working status or something of that sort, you need to know the exact time so you can calculate times in between. So go through this if you haven't done it already to set a date time property, and then this quick little video is to walk through how to actually use that. So one of the most common scenarios is that you want to store the time a lead or a contact hits a specific stage. Maybe it's from the moment that a first activity is logged on it, or when a rep says, oh, it's potential or qualified or whatever. This can be used for really any of those scenarios. So you want to go create a blank workflow that's contact based. And then we want to go through here and set up our trigger. And the trigger is going to be based on a contact property. And this can really be anything you want. So is it a variety of things? Lead status is X, and number of activities is over a certain threshold, whatever the case might be. But I'll come to lead status and I will say when the lead hits working. We don't need to have re-enrollment enabled on this, so nothing to set there. And then all we need to do is come here and search for setting a property. We're gonna set a property value. We will have to pick the value we already set, so I created that already. Date of working lead status. And then the option here, this is kind of the most important part, is date of step. And what this is gonna do is set that timestamp at the date and time when this workflow executes. So you'll store that information, so we'll save that. So this is basically the workflow. The only part that's really important is when you kick this off, don't enroll existing, because now everyone in the database is going to get this date and time from like right now whenever it executes. So choose to only enroll after the workflow's been turned on, so you can do that. And you're kind of good to go from that point. I'll just leave this off because it's a testing environment. So now that you're setting that date, the next step is just to run whatever calculations you want. So if we come in here to properties, maybe we want to create a property that is something like time from contact create to working lead status. And we'll just come in here. We'll say this is a calculation, and then we'll just build the calculation. One of the super convenient options is time between. And you're just gonna put in those two date fields. So create date and then working, and that's all there is to it. You don't actually have to add any conditions in here. It just won't calculate it if there's no end date, so don't even bother setting that. And now you have your calculation. And so the key is that does need to be a date time property, because if it is just a normal other date field that you've created for this specific thing, it's just gonna do some sort of weird math between a date time and a full date, and it usually looks like some weird amount of time. Once you get into numerous days, it's not as inaccurate, but if it is a super short time frame, which typically, you generate a lead and hand it to a rep, they should jump on it immediately. Like we're talking, this should be a calculation that only returns something in the neighborhood of an hour. So you want to make sure you set it up this way. The one other thing, so we set this up and we have our date times moving forward available, but what about the historical data? And that's something that comes up pretty often. So what you can actually do is if you go and find that lead status field, you can export property history. And what this will do is it'll give you every single change that has occurred to all of the contacts in your database with this specifically. So it'll give you basically, if you look at a contacts property and click the details button where it expands out the historicals, it'll give you the full view of all that. And so all you need to do is, it's a little bit of Excel work, but you need to pull, it says when it hit working, and then it would say what the date time was of that specific field change. So you do have the data for historicals if you want to take the extra effort, export this Excel file, and then pull the dates from there. So I'm happy to make another video on that at some point if anyone has questions on that, but that would be, it would give you the option to not just be like, oh, from here on we're good. You could get that historical info in there. So hope this helps. If there's any questions, don't hesitate to toss them in the comments, and we'll be happy to help. See ya.